I'm back, baby. I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. My friend Adam Rabinovich said he said something this morning in the green room. Look, this is Philanthropy and Focus. Let's just say that so you know what you're listening to. But Adam and I were talking, and I got on this Hawaiian shirt, and the hair is a little wild today. I mean, I might throw a hat on. If you're only listening, I don't know what to tell you. You don't get to see the visuals. But I will say, I was like, he goes, yeah, you're like the morning zoo disc jockey. And I said, like DJ Johnny Fever from WKRP in Cincinnati. That's what we were talking about. And again, I'm a little, young-ish for that program, but I did definitely see it in the reruns. I liked that guy. I thought he was a cool dude. Howard Hessman is his name, it turns out, and we were checking that out. That's how this show works, gang. We're just learning together. So check out DJ Johnny Fever. He used to have like these shades on. It was the 70s. I don't know. Maybe he had some of those funny cigarettes. I don't know what was going on. I'm not sure. Anyway. All right. Look, this show is Philanthropy and Focus. I'm the nonprofit sector connector. My entire mission with what I do on this program is to shine a spotlight, to spotlight the work that nonprofits are doing, to help the leaders of these organizations tell their story and amplify their message. And just to tell you, I've been doing this a long time now, a couple of years, 2.5 years really. And it's 128, 129 different nonprofit organizations that I've had the opportunity to connect with. And when you call yourself the nonprofit sector connector, man, that's what it's all about. It's all about connecting. It's all about relationships. It's all about getting to know people, getting to find out what makes them tick, what makes their organizations tick. And then how can we help? And that's what I'm always about. How can we help? So today's organization is called COPE, named the COPE Foundation, but we talk about it. We're going to talk about it as COPE, Connecting Our Paths Eternally. Adam Rabinovich, how'd I do?
You did great. Beautiful. Thanks, Tommy. Well done.
Rabinovich. Like if you remember that movie with John Malkovich being John Malkovich, did you see that movie?
Just rewatched it. Yep. Malkovich. Yeah, there you go.
Goes into his own head and it's Malkovich.
Yeah. Your listeners are going to be walking through the rest of their day. Rabinovich. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
It's Rabinovich. I'm going to be doing it at least. Even I might be just walking around the attic. What is he talking about the attic? Well, every single Friday morning, I walk all the way up from the kitchen, 2 flights of stairs, just below the roof of my house in my attic. That's where I've been doing this show for a bunch of years. That's where I've been spending a lot of my time is in the attic. And I joke about it. I say, if you remember, we're going to talk movies apparently, because I remember Wayne's World movie with, Wayne Campbell, Aurora, Illinois, I think it was. And when Wayne and Garth got to do their show, they got a deal. They built Wayne's basement, right? on a studio, right? A sound studio. So eventually one day, maybe somebody builds my attic in a studio somewhere. It won't be a lot of work. It's not that big a place, everybody. All right. So look, we do this. We highlight the work nonprofits are doing. We find out about the programs, the initiatives, and obviously as a connector, we talk about how we can help, how we can make an impact. Who is this we? Well, it's me, and it's all of you paying attention, because I challenge you to get involved with your nonprofits all the time. I've done now 52 days on a plan of 60 days of service. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but get out there, man. Work in the soup kitchen. Go out and I do a lot of scooping Italian ices. That's day of service, right? Thanks to my dad hooking me up with Italian ices. But it's really about getting involved in your community, getting involved in your nonprofits, because it is all of us that need to help and be a part of the change. So, Adam, without further ado, let's get into this conversation. The organization is COPE. It says here, and I've heard this before, from people like my friend Linda Beagle-Schulman of the Scott J. Beagle Memorial Fund. We are members of a club no one wants to join. We are members of a club no one wants to join. COPE Foundation is a grief and healing organization helping parents and families living with the loss of a child. It was started by bereaved parents and now professionally leads support groups, grief support phone line, monthly healing workshops, including yoga, meditation, Reiki, art movement, and music, as well as writing and journaling. Adam, I want to talk about the organization, but really I want to talk about you to get started. I want to understand your background, what drew you to nonprofit work, as I like to say, and then sort of we'll get to what drew you to this organization. So can we start with your background?
Absolutely, will do. And thank you, Tommy, and your team for having me on behalf of the many COPE families and the many in this club that you just mentioned that no one wants to belong to. We're well connected with Linda and know about the legacy of the Scott Beagle family foundation. So thank you for highlighting them too. And we'll talk more about the kinds of families we support. It turns out my family's in this club that no one wants to belong to either. I recognized it for all of my life. As we're recording, going live now, I'm recently turned 50 and lost my baby sister. My parents lost my sister when I was a kid growing up in Westchester County, New York. It turns out that there was nothing like a COPE or a Beagle Foundation for them then, had they even taken advantage of it. So we've been living with the loss of a child like so many others. And as we get through the conversation, I'll talk more about what some of those personal reflections mean. Fast forward for me, though, I grew up in the suburbs of downstate New York, went into the private sector, chasing a career in the music industry on the business side, because I knew I wouldn't make a living like you may have done along the way on the radio side or otherwise. Worked in the international healthcare space for many years, traveled the world. And then as I was approaching my late 30s, I said, what do I really want to do when I grow up? And that's been a commitment for the last decade plus to social impact and nonprofit work. I've been focused in a variety of mission areas that mean a lot to me. Hopefully we'll get a chance to cover some of those, because I know that as the nonprofit sector connector, you touch a lot of missions and causes. And here I am 5 years into my work as the executive director of COPE. The organization's turning 25 next year. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about nonprofit life cycles and what that means to sustain the work that's so crucial in the communities that we both and so many people who are listening today care about. And that's a little bit about me and how I got here.
I love you setting that up, man. You gave us so many things to talk about. You're like, maybe we'll talk about this, maybe we'll talk about that. And I'm like, we better find 2 more hours.
There you go.
So let's talk about that. I mean, it's interesting. And yes, you know, as the nonprofit sector connector, I am connected to a lot of missions and a lot of opportunities to learn about organizations. And I think it's interesting, as you say, you know, what do I really, you said to yourself, what do I really want to do when I grow up? And I feel like it's, you know, many people are drawn to this work, you know, whether they get, you know, there's something that impacted them as a young person or their parents were very involved in service work. I love that you had that opportunity to reflect on what you wanted to do, you know, and I think I'd encourage everybody, if you're out there listening right now, to just pause a little bit and consider, what do you want to be doing? You know, there's a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, and he talks about, like, if we just find out what we're passionate about. I'll tell you the truth, man, that's where Philanthropy and Focus, this program, comes from. It comes from listening to Gary Vee say, listen, if you're out there and there's something that you're passionate about and you want to talk about it and you want to build content around, just go do it. So it was a combination of that, and it was a combination of knowing my friend Ken Serini and Associates in the Long Island Imagine Awards, New York City Imagine Awards. And that's really where this idea came from. So anyhow, what I'm saying, gang, is challenge yourself to find out what you want to do to make this world a better place. I got to deal with the universe. My deal says I got about 50 years left to live. And I keep saying that as weeks go by and months go by and years go by. So I just keep stretching it out. So I think my deal, I keep rewriting the deal I have with the universe. The point of the matter is, gang, 50 years ain't a long time, like a blip. So what are we going to do? How are you going to make an impact? How are you going to change things? First of all, happy birthday. You said not too long ago, you just turned 50. So
That's right.
I'm not yet, but I intend to be. So let's talk about this, though. You make this decision. You said you did some international business work, right? International insurance. Did you say international insurance?
Healthcare, selling medical devices around the world. Yeah, you got it.
Selling devices. Okay. And then before that, you said on the business side in the music industry. So what was it that you said social impact? What did that mean for you? Like, what was pulling on, I'm going to say, your heartstrings? Yeah. What was pulling in that direction for you?
No, I appreciate the way you teed that up, because first of all, I was fortunate to be able to have the bandwidth, the space, a little bit of financial safety net when I was making that gut check and life decision of going all into this mission driven work. And so what I really meant at the time, my daughter, who's about to be 17, she was 2 or 3. And I said, if and when she ever asked me, what does dad do? I want to be able to say I help people. And that's what the focus really has been. So when I think about social impact and making the world a better place, and I think you and I know you and I have a lot of shared vision on this, it's really about helping people lift themselves up, whether it's around poverty reduction, whether it's around improving health outcomes. For me, is a crucial part of the world we live in, is helping people live their best selves, physical health, mental health. improving educational opportunities and outcomes. They all weave together. And now doing this grief and healing work with COPE for the last number of years, I see how much of a public health crisis we have in our backyard on Long Island and beyond and across the country around bereavement and grief. So these all weave together, and it's been humbling and honoring to be able to help people in this club that we talked a little bit about before. It's a club no one wants to belong to. COPE's one of the ways that we can connect and support each other.
Yeah. Man, so much there. What was really coming up as you were speaking for me was the vision you had for the conversation that you would eventually have with this 17-year-old who was 2 or 3 at the time, and not your reflection, but I guess really thinking into the future, into your mind's eye. I want to say that I help people. I have an 8-year-old who tells me, I have 4 kids, but the 8-year-old, he says to me, "Hey, what are we doing the next day of service?" Wow. When are we doing the next day of service? What number are you up to? What did you do? What are you doing now? When can I go? I want to go. I haven't gone since we painted the basement at the Waterfront Center in Oyster Bay. Dad, what's the story? Right. That, to me, is changing the trajectory of his life, his siblings' lives, and I know a lot of other people too. And I've tried for 2 years now to say that it's not just, hey, look at me, I'm doing a great thing for the community. What I'm trying to point out to folks, and I love doing it, by the way, it's totally the most selfish, selfless thing you can do, because I get good vibes doing it and I'm making the world a better place, I believe. But it's, for me, it's to show other people, it's not a big thing. You don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting. It's time, treasure, talent, right? If you can't write big checks, but you're an electrician and you can help wire an organization's basement, or, if you can be I'm not a great painter, but I had fun painting that day with my 2 sons. And it was the funniest thing. My younger son, he was the only one, Adam, that fit behind the fish tank, because these fish tanks are so giant. Like, you weren't going to move these fish tanks to paint. So he fit behind the fit. And I'm showing you, gang, if you're only listening, I don't know what to tell you, but picture this. Picture this, Oyster Bay, 2022. And it was like he fit behind there with the little roller and the whole thing. And that's fun. And he'll never forget that. And that's impactful. So I get what you're saying about helping people and really making that impact. Before we take a quick break, we're going to take a break in a second, but I want you to just talk about teeing things up. When you first moved into this work, was that when you were at Neighbors Link, and then later on it was Goal? Tell us about where you started this work.
Yeah, thank you. So in the right around the turn of the last decade, so 2010, 2011, I was working with a terrific group that's still doing amazing work around immigrant integration. They're called Neighbors Link. They help bridge relationships between new immigrants and longer-term residents. And I was proud to be part of that team as they scaled across the region. And then I ran an organization called Goal, which was helping kids living in poverty with their social and emotional development. We ran after-school programs in East Harlem in Manhattan, New York. And then from there, I moved on, met the folks at COPE. We got to know each other, and here I am 5 years later, leading us from a founder-driven organization to a sustaining culture, hitting on a lot of the same themes that you just talked about, this culture of philanthropy and volunteerism. There's way more need than any one organization can solve, and everyone has a skill, talent, time, or treasure, as you mentioned. So find a way to plug in, find a mission that moves you, attach yourself to an organization, and jump right in. You'll be glad you did.
And you know what? I'll challenge you all to do this right before we go to break. But if you need a nonprofit sector connector to come out and do some service with you, TommyD.NYC on Instagram. I don't really use the TikTok thing. I'm not real sure what it's about, but I did play around with it, but it's very addicting. But go to TommyD.NYC on that TikTok thing too. Hit me up there. But I love the Instagram. I dig it. Take some pictures, put some things out there. But hit me up, or Tommy D at Philanthropy and Phocus, PHOCUS.com. That's an email. Send me an email there and let me know. Let's go do a day of service together. Talk about service. We got to go to a quick commercial break. We come back. Adam's going to talk to us. I want to hear more about what you did at Neighbors Link. I want to hear more about Goal, and then we're going to roll right into COPE. We'll be right back. This show is Philanthropy and Focus. Your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. Right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business, or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
What really drives success in business? Introducing Intangify, the show that explores the intangible assets that create value and growth. I'm Matthew Aspel, your host and an attorney focused on innovation. Join me Fridays at noon Eastern to discover how innovation, culture, and other intangibles shape driving companies from startups to established businesses. We'll share strategies to unleash your business's true potential. Tune in live on talkradio.nyc Fridays at noon Eastern and Intangify your business today.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Cut through the static, gang. That's what we're supposed to do. Get here. We are live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. I can't even believe this. Shout out to Logan. We're live on Twitch. I don't even know what that is, man. I know that's for gamers. I do know that. So thanks to Logan, and shout out to Logan for really a lot of support that he gave me. He's the producer here. He gave me a lot of support this week on a project we were getting going here for the network. So thanks for your help there. All right. So Adam, let's get back into this. The organization is called COPE. Let's talk about, before we actually, I jumped over myself. I wanted to hear about neighbor links and then goal, a little bit about your work there, and then we're going to move that right into COPE.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to share the good work that those organizations have done. Neighbors Link is a community-based organization, real grassroots in its origin, helping to heal communities that were having tensions and challenges when new immigrants were beginning to integrate into their backyards. And with success over many years, I helped to take that model, bring it to other places beyond its roots in northern Westchester County, where I'm originally from, coincidentally. We were in Fairfield, Connecticut, moved to Yonkers, Ossining, and just helping communities meet their needs and taking this proven model, customizing it where need be, and really scaling up the impact. And from there, I took a leadership position helping in my own backyard in New York City, where I'm raising my public school daughter, and realizing that there were school communities not too far away from where she was at school that didn't have the resources that she did. So I was giving back there, leading after school and out of school programs for kids, elementary school, middle school kids who might not have had their own clean pair of pants, let alone an iPad or laptop to do the kind of after school programming that my kid and her friends may have taken for granted. So that was a good run. The organization had some financial challenges at the end, a lot of learned lessons there. We may talk about sustainability in this conversation. I know that's important to everything you do and all the hats you wear with Vanguard and the corporate sponsorships that are so critical to the nonprofit sector. And so after that organization sunsetted, I moved on and joined the team at COPE. And again, 5 years in, I'm finding it some of the most meaningful work I've done, and with the personal connection to loss and this club that no one wants to belong to, it's really helped to keep me engaged in the strategic work that we're doing to help more and more families every day.
Yeah, awesome stuff. So let's get into that. I mean, there's so many questions I have about those other organizations, but we're gonna have to do that on another show. We're here to talk about COPE today. And first of all, your candor and just, I mean, I appreciate you sharing the story about the loss of your sister as when you were a child. You know, I'm always taken. When I think about it, I think about people who found organizations out of loss, and Linda Viegel-Schulman comes to mind, as we've already talked about. We have a family foundation in memory of my cousin Linda Cunningham, the Lindy Lou Foundation. You know, Elisa Seeger, the ALD Alliance, in memory of her son who tragically passed as a young boy. and going out and then changing the world and the impact that these people are able to make and the legacy that we're able to leave. So if I'm not mistaken, this organization COPE started out of a similar situation. Can you give us sort of the genesis of COPE?
Yeah, absolutely, with pride and honor. And you're naming some of these profoundly resilient visionary leaders. We know, I'm sure together, some others like Chillin' with Adam and David and Arlene Gaines, who started an organization in honor of their son, Adam. The COPE story goes back to the pain and loss that our founder, Lily Julian, lives with, the loss of her daughter, Michelle. She and some other parents who she connected with across Long Island came together in an informal setting, leaning on each other through these profound losses of their children, found and created and built a network of support, and then realized that there was more that could be done. So it's almost 25 years ago that COPE as a nonprofit corporation came into being, a formal structure that is now sustained for almost a quarter of a century. We're helping and have helped thousands of families across Long Island and beyond. And the origin goes back to Lily's vision and the logo, which anyone who's watching us in addition to listening, was designed by her. It's got a heart with a hand in it. And this idea of connecting each other, and for so many people in their grief journeys, the next level of their own healing is helping others. So that goes back to volunteering and donating and getting involved. So we find in an extraordinarily profound way that for people's own loss and grief journey, helping others is a meaningful part of their own experience. So that's a little bit of a look back to flash forward to today.
I love it. And I just want to make a comment. Earlier this week, I shoot a quick video each week to promote the upcoming show. And earlier this week, I went to the website and I read a little bit in this video about, it says in 1992, my 20-year-old daughter, Michelle, lost her life tragically in a car accident. And this is from Lily, and the founder of the organization says, in the midst of my grief, Michelle came to her in a dream and said, "I'm okay, mommy. You're the ones who aren't okay, and you need to reach out and help each other." And I'm feeling the same way I felt when I read this on the video the other day. And we can, as those who are still here, we need support, and we need to support each other. And that's the thing. And as you just said, healing, part of the healing is helping other people, and that paying it forward mentality. So let's talk about, Adam, what it looks like day in and day out for the organization. And by the way, before you do that, I wanted to do this when you talked about the logo. The website is copefoundation.org, copefoundation.org. So Adam, tell me, somebody just experiences loss and they are now a member of this club, as we've talked about. What happens? They call the organization, somebody says to them, I mean, I remember when something happened recently, you said your organization had kind of got brought in, and when there's a shooting or something like that, people will actually, something that happened just recently here in Roslyn, that's what I'm referring to, the tragic loss of those two little boys here not too far from where we are here in Long Island. I believe you probably the organization has some connection to the schools and things like that. So how does that happen? How does somebody get in contact with the organization?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So thank you for framing it, including up until recent events, and inevitably today, tomorrow, and the next day when someone's going to need and look for support. So copefoundation.org is a great place to start. Our approach to healing and helping is through a few different program areas, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute. And by visiting our website or giving us a call, that's a great way to start. We can figure out very quickly with our clinical team if the person's a good fit for our programs, based both on the nature of their loss and the timing of their journey. Not everyone's ready for different kinds of support at a certain point in their grief journey. So we can help together make those decisions. And if it's not a great fit, we know, if not everyone, almost everyone in the industry, in the field, so we can make connections and referrals. And a lot of folks are connecting and referring back to us. So that's part of my job. And thank you again for giving the platform here to make sure that people know that there is help and there is support. So that first step, that critical step, when someone needs that lifeline, you can reach out to copefoundation.org. You'll find an intake form on our website, a few pieces of information just to help us understand who you are and the relationship to the loss of your loved one. We have a phone number. It's not a toll-free, it's a local Long Island number, but we are supporting people from across Long Island and beyond. The number is 516-832-2673. info@copefoundation.org is a way to send an email. And then when you're ready, I can talk more about how we support parents, siblings, kids, teens, and families in the programs that we offer.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's get right in.
So there's three main ways that COPE are supporting families today. The first are a series of clinically facilitated peer support groups. And what I mean by that is we've designed both in person across Long Island and also online peer support groups. So for example, parents come together, moms and dads living with the loss of a child. And in each of those rooms, whether it's in person across Long Island or on a Zoom room using telemental health, we have a licensed clinician, a social worker or psychologist. And these folks are trained and experienced in a number of areas, including grief and bereavement. This is not direct one-on-one type therapy. Many of the COPE families who come to us are also taking advantage of therapy. So these are peer support groups with a clinician there to help facilitate the individual and collective journey. And that seems to really make a difference in terms of a model. A second area where we help, and I'll just highlight, in addition to parent support groups, we also have support groups for bereaved siblings, adult siblings. And we have a teen group, or it's actually now teen and young adults, which meets on a regular basis with a licensed clinician facilitating. A second area, I know we're going to be going to break soon, and then we can come back and explore anything else you want to on any of these, are healing workshops. And these are a variety and diverse set of programs that we offer online and increasingly back in person, kind of post tail end of the pandemic. Everything from yoga to art therapy, drama therapy, music therapy, which I know is something close to yours and my hearts, how the healing power of music can help people. And those are happening all the time, including with our partners at Pine Lawn Memorial Arboretum on Long Island. So support groups, healing workshops, and then every summer, the third area I just wanted to highlight before we break is our Camp Erin NYC and retreat. This happens at the end of each August. It's free for kids. All of our programs are free to join. These are for 7 to 17-year-old children and teens living with the loss of someone significant to them, bereavement, healing, and a fun camp experience. And in parallel, we have a parent and caregiver retreat. So all parts of the family get some new tools and some common language to share in their grief and healing journey.
New tools and common language. Think about that, folks, because this is not something that necessarily is instinctual. We don't necessarily know how to grieve. There's no handbook on, certainly, with the tragic loss of a young person. I remember, so we lost my cousin Linda. My brother-in-law, John, passed away when he was 30 years old. And you're not prepared for this. And a parent, certainly as parents, Adam, we know this, you're never supposed to outlive your child. That's what we hear, right? Like that's never supposed to be the way. And, there's no necessarily, nothing instinctual. So I know how to react to this. So language and tools and language. Think about that, folks. If you're experiencing this, get rid of the shame. Get rid of the stigma, like ask for support, ask for help. Second ever episode, and I probably bring this up every fifth episode, but the second ever episode of Philanthropy and Focus was my buddy, Dr. Larry Grubler, who runs transitional services for New York, TSINY. And if you listen to my show, you've heard me tell this story a dozen times. He said, Tommy D, we all need support. at different times. And while this conversation today is not necessarily about the mental health conversation that we're having, I think it certainly is adjacent, connected to that. So talk about support, talk about tools, talk about language, because when we all speak the same language, we can relate to each other. Whether, if it's a parent and a sibling, yes, they're experiencing different levels of grief, this grief journey is different, but they can communicate. And I laugh as I say communicate, because I have teenagers. Well, one's almost a teenager, one is a teenager, and the other two will be teenagers. And I don't know how to communicate with these people, generally speaking, in a where we're not dealing with a grief environment. So it's all about learning about tools and education. So how do you do that? You go to the website, you call 516-832-2673. I wrote it down while you were talking, Adam. So we will be right back. Philanthropy in Focus. I'm going to say it. Rabinovich, Adam. I don't know why my fingers went up like I was saying like pizza pie, but Adam Rabinovich and Tommy D, the organization's COPE. We'll be right back. Philanthropy in Focus.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc, now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
That's right. Join me each Friday morning, 10 a.m. I bring to you another important leader of a nonprofit organization. Hashtag no big deal, just changing the world. And that is tongue in cheek, because it is a freaking big deal. It's a big deal. These people are changing the world. They're making the biggest impact, and they're supporting those who need the support. All right. CopeFoundation.org. That's how you check out the organization. Adam and I are talking about it. Adam is the executive director there, coming up on 5 years, right? When is your 5-year anniversary? Is it happening? Did it happen?
Yeah. Well, we can talk more about some of the programs, because my 5th year, which is just a moment in time, was the Camp Erin NYC 2018. It was my first day on the job, and some of the first people that I got to meet in this field, where so many organizations are doing great work supporting families, was to meet these 7 to 17-year-old children. For many of them, it was the first time, A, ever going to summer camp, and B, certainly meeting other kids like themselves who are experiencing and living with the loss of a loved one, a parent, a sibling, an uncle. So that was my first day on the job, and we'll be back at Camp Erin NYC August 25th to 27th this year, and registration is still open and available.
I'm looking at that.
About that, great.
Yeah, I'm looking at that online. So you go to, actually, you know what I'm going to do, folks? I'm going to, if I could get this going, share my screen so you could just see what I'm talking about. Why don't you tell me the name of the movie you would like to see? Remember that? So let me share real quick while we're talking about it. Share screen. Let's go, Tommy. Like you planned this.
And we'll make sure your team has for any show notes, also the direct link, so people can get involved and
appreciate that. Appreciate it. Yeah. So you should see my screen, Adam, right? It should be the website.
It's coming up any second now.
Coming up.
There it is. You got it.
There you go, Tommy D. Good job, kid. All right, so this is at Camp Erin, Hope Foundation, part of the Aluna Network, which I shout out to my buddy Fred Taffer, who's connected to Aluna, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think you and I talked about that. It's Jamie Moyer and the former pitcher and his wife, I believe, run that organization, where children learn to grieve and heal. And it's going to be, as you say, August 25th through 27th. So what is, here's some of the information about it, but how does they go right here and learn? Is there there's a brochure?
Yeah, there's a few ways to get involved. So on our website, which for those of you who are able to see what Tommy's sharing, otherwise you'll get in follow up, I'm sure, on the Philanthropy and Focus website. There's a camper application, again, meant to be relatively straightforward, just so our team, we have a clinical leader and a camp director who have been doing this work for a long time. And they get to know families, again, making sure it's the right fit at the right time. There's ways that people can join as volunteers as well. We have both clinical volunteers and trained and supported non-clinical volunteers. So that one-to-one adult mentor to kid ratio makes a real big difference in terms of strengthening bonds. And then again, for the parents and caregivers who are being so generous and letting us help their children for the weekend at the end of August, there's an opportunity for them to stay. It's at a beautiful space in the Pocono Mountains, a couple of hours north of New York City and Long Island. And there's a parent caregiver retreat, a very healing meditative space with lots of support, some downtime for parents, and building bonds in this club that no one wants to belong to. We're here. And Tom, you said it before break so beautifully. We share this vision, as does Transitional Services and so many other great organizations, that no one needs to grieve alone. So again, I appreciate you helping to amplify that message, that no one needs to go through this alone.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. I'm doing better at appreciating the gratitude that people throw my way. For a lot of years, I used to say, yeah, no big deal, no big deal. But I appreciate that, because I'm grateful that everybody's grateful, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, making this world a better place. I was meditating this morning, Adam, and I do this thing with this. I just go to YouTube. Boho Beautiful is this. They just play these meditations, 15, 12 minutes, 17 minutes, whatever. And, one of the things, the mantra that the guy was saying this morning was, I'm grateful for the challenges and obstacles that I will get in, that will be in my path today. I'm butchering it a little bit, but I'm grateful for the challenges and obstacles. And I try to have that mentality, because we are going to, and that's not going to be easy peasy all day, folks. Things are going to be difficult. So let's just be grateful for those opportunities, because they're growth opportunities. So Adam, let's talk, if we could, about what some of the experiences from these young people have been. I do want you to mention too, you mentioned this respite piece about for the parents. I think that's critically important to underscore. I wanted to say it, and because, I know some folks who, as the children might have somewhere to go, what about the parents? Where are they going? So I think that's important. I just wanted to underscore that, and, connect with Cope to find out more about that, everybody. But Adam, let's talk about some of the experiences of these young people, and tell me some stories, if you could. Again, we don't have to talk names, but just what's changed and for these families.
Yeah, no, you're hitting on all the themes, and one of them, which we just talked a little bit about ago, which we heard from a family who joined the camp and the retreat, and then shared their experiences directly with our network at one of our community building fundraising events. They talked about, for the first time in their journey living with the loss of their young son, how they had a common language, even in that drive back from the camp, the 3 hours to get back home with a little bit of traffic, but they had a new set of tools in their toolbox, and so it brought them together even closer as a family. Their resiliency was second to none going into the camp, and their common bond as a family unit was even more and stronger coming out of the 3 days together. And we're using that kind of a story and experience to build and cope an even stronger family-centered model, realizing that while parents, and you touched on this a little bit as well, parents are living with the loss of a child or in a club that no one wants to belong to, so are bereaved siblings. And sometimes siblings, for example, are referred to as the forgotten mourners or the forgotten grievers, because often it'll be, how's your parents doing? And sometimes they don't get asked, how are you doing? So we're building into our strategy how we can help more in a family-focused way, while also recognizing that each individual journey is unique. And if I can just take another minute and talk about another couple of directions in addition to this family-focused support, where COPE is going, not to step on your toes in terms of questions and things you want to cover, but I do want to.
Adam, I'm navigating. That's all I'm here to do, man. I want you to tell stories. Do it.
I do want to highlight a couple of other areas, and they support this family-focused approach to grief and healing, because it's really a community support. So starting in January of this year, we were invited in by Malloy University, and I'll make sure that you and your team have the show notes there, to be part of their community clinic, which is a healthcare delivery system that, instead of folks in communities where healthcare might be a challenge, more of a challenge than in other places, instead of having to get to the spot of healthcare, here the healthcare is coming to them. So this is a mobile clinic van that travels across Nassau and Suffolk County, providing everything from diabetes screening to blood pressure tests. And now we also together offer grief support. So COPE is honored to be part of that. So between the family-focused approach, this supporting under-resourced communities through our partnership with Malloy University, and also extending our reach. Not only today are we active in Nassau, across Nassau and Suffolk and Long Island and now New York City, but also Westchester County and beyond. So these are the ways that we're helping to step up, always through community partnerships. Again, there's more need than any one nonprofit or for-profit organization can handle. So we need to do it through community partnerships, including folks like Transitional Services and so many of the other nonprofit sector connectors that you connect, plus the corporate world and Vanguard, and so many corporate partners who are really invested in this grief and healing work that we do together. So I just wanted to highlight those, and again, appreciate.
I love all of it. I grabbed the stuff. You threw something in the chat for me. I put it right out there on social media. It's right out there on Facebook for folks. You know, the Malloy, this initiative you're talking about, the community care mobile clinic. I wonder, you know, we have some connections to Malloy College through the nonprofit, Malloy University. Used to be called Malloy College, Malloy University. We actually just did some work with them with the Lindy Lou Foundation. They had their graduate students did their final program on consulting work for the Lindy Lou Foundation, and it was really, really special work. And I got a new connection to Malloy out of that. And then, you know, the nonprofit resource hub is going to be doing some collaboration with Malloy University as well. And I'm wondering, I have to assume that this is from that Mother Cabrini grant dollars, right, Adam? Yeah,
you got it.
Because I've been out there.
Health Foundation. That's
right. Mother Cabrini Health Foundation, because they did a lot. I've been out there for some trainings and some networking, and I was at the 10th anniversary. The capstone is the word I was looking for. Okay. They did their capstone program for the Lindy Lou Foundation. So so really, really special, Malloy University. I look forward to, I was actually telling my friend over there, I said, I think I'm going back to school. I think I'm coming back here. Yeah, I think I'm going back to college. But actually, I saw something the other day in my alma mater, SUNY Old Westbury, that has a nonprofit, like a mini program I'm going to take. It's 2 courses. I'm going to take that at SUNY Old Westbury. Anyway, we didn't come here to talk about Tommy D's.
So soon you'll be teaching those courses. So
maybe. I don't know. I know a few things, not everything. So let's go at it a little bit further. Like, can you give me one anecdotal story, Adam, if you don't mind, about, you know, a family that, you know, you talked about the ride back and things like that in the Poconos, and we know a bit about traffic, so there's plenty of time to talk about tools when you're coming from the Poconos to get back to Long Island or to the city. But is there a testimonial or something that you got from one of your families over your 5-year tenure here? How can you talk a little bit about something like that?
Yeah, thank you for giving me the chance to share directly from the families, because that's why we're here. So I'll just give a couple of recent shout outs that we got from parents and siblings who are in our programs. And these folks are also, I just want to highlight this because it goes back to that theme that you and I hit on a little bit, of the next level of healing being helping others. So all of these folks are also donors to the organization. So they're giving back. Maybe it's not a day one in their grief journey, but as they find benefit and connectivity and realizing that no one needs to grieve alone, so many of them step up because we need to be here not only for the families that are counting on us today, but those that are inevitably counting on us in the future. we know, anyone who's listening, I think knows that we're seeing way too many drivers and increases, whether it's the mental health crisis, fentanyl overdoses, gun violence, so much loss in our communities, and this kind of work is needed now more than ever. So RC, who's a COPE father, says that COPE's been great for him and his family, and they appreciate being able to take part in our excellent programs. Those are his words, not mine. And he's given to his time, talent, and treasure to help others. One person said they were thanking us. AM is a COPE sibling and now a monthly donor. It sounds a little bit like one of the late night fundraisers right now, but this is all true, and this is all recent. She wished that this was around 20 years ago when or 20 plus years ago when she lost her brother. Now she's getting the support she needs and deserves 20 plus years in. One of the things I've learned about grief and healing, because I'm not a clinician, I'm surrounded by amazing clinical team members, is that grief is not something that one gets over. It's something that one can integrate into your life. It's something that you can move through. I grew up thinking about the ladder of grief, the steps of grief. I've learned from my colleagues that it's really not a ladder or a hierarchy of grief. It's more like an ocean where grief ebbs and flows and sticks with you. And there's a lot to that. So some of the people who are in our programs have been together for years in their support groups. And that just says a lot to me about the model that we've built and the resiliency of the families that step up and take that first step of reaching out and helping themselves, getting the tools for their own family. So in that oxygen mask analogy that we're all familiar with, often you can't help your kids until you help yourself. So that's, again, where we're coming from when we start to build on this family focus to support to grief. So again, thanks for giving me the chance to share just a couple of the quotes from folks recently.
This is great. This has been a great conversation. So you know what, we do take one quick break here, and we'll come back. When we come back, Adam, what I really want to do is I want you to drive home how we can help. What do you need? Really, like, I'm going to give you 74 seconds to think about it, but you came here prepared, so I know you know what it is. So we are going to go to a quick final break. Adam Rabinovich is here. Tommy D is here. Philanthropy and Focus. We'll be right back.
What really drives success in business? Introducing Intangify, the show that explores the intangible assets that create value and growth. I'm Matthew Aspel, your host and an attorney focused on innovation. Join me Fridays at noon Eastern to discover how innovation, culture, and other intangibles shape thriving companies, from startups to established businesses. We'll share strategies to unleash your business's true potential. Tune in live on talkradio.nyc, Fridays at noon Eastern, and Intangify your business today.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
All right, this is the lightning round. That's what I like to call it when we end the show, the lightning round. So we're going to go pretty quick through some stuff, but the website is copefoundation.org, copefoundation.org. Adam Rabinovich is here. And really quick, I'm going to read this one. I'm going to read what you put in the chat here. It says, this is a testimonial from one of the families who is a COPE family. And it says, the support group allows us a safe place to honor our children. Thank you. Having the opportunity to share with our shattered hearts and souls all the most painful and vulnerable parts of living with such a brutal and painful void of being without our precious angels, and receiving support from the kind and dedicated social workers and other members is truly a gift. A gift, folks. That's what nonprofits are doing here. Here's the mug. No big deal, just changing the world. If you're just listening, I'm holding up a mug that says no big deal, just changing the world, because that's what this is. That's what this is all about. This is about making the world a better place. You know, we're here for a short time. It's our job. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's our job to show love and compassion and make everybody's day better. I mean, the boys from Liverpool told us, all you need is love, baby. All you need is love. All right, Adam, let's bring it home for the folks. I want to know what you need, how we can help. And I know we got to get you out of here in a couple minutes. So tell me hit me with it.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy and team. This is just a great opportunity to share and do everything that your mug and everything that you say, which is to help others. So if you've appreciated, learned something, want to get involved, reach out. CopeFoundation.org is a great way to start. We're live here today, and I think the second or third day of summer 2023. So I'll give a quick sneak peek of what's happening at Cope for the next couple of seasons, how people can get involved. This Sunday, June 25th, rain or shine, unless it really thunders, we're going to be getting together at the Cope Labyrinth. This is a healing meditative spot in Eisenhower Park on Long Island. Registration is still available. You can go to our website, copefoundation.org, and find out about that community space and workshop. Family members come together. They have engraved bricks in honor of their lost loved ones. And then on a regular basis, we come together with new brick dedication ceremonies and a very meaningful healing program with music and reflections. Flashing forward throughout the summer, we're going to continue to offer healing workshops. You can find out more both on our website, copefoundation.org, and we do a lot through partnerships at Pine Lawn Memorial, that's pinelawn.com. So we have monthly healing workshops, a variety of kind running throughout the year, including during the summer. Looking ahead, and we talked a little bit about our Camp Erin NYC and Parent Caregiver Retreat. Registration is still open. That's going to be happening August 25th to 27th. So if you have someone in your life that would benefit from that program or know someone that would, please do share that out. And then October 23rd, so already thinking about the fall, we'll be back on Long Beach Boardwalk for our 20th annual Cope Walk. This is an opportunity for hundreds of family members to come together. They lean on each other, they cry, they eat bagels and schmears and drink some coffee, and then spend time on the beautiful Long Beach Boardwalk in a really healing and connected space. And then looking ahead to next year, it'll be a 25th anniversary of Cope's impact. We invite people to get involved now. Then we'll be back at North Hills Country Club on June 3rd, 2024. Feels like ages away, and that'll be our annual golf outing, which is another great way to get involved, to support family members, to meet others, to connect, to sponsor, and to help keep this healing work going for those folks that are inevitably going to need the grief and healing support in the future. So copefoundation.org is a great way to connect and learn more about what's happening.
So I know you have to get on your way, Adam. So the phone number again is 516-832-2673. And the website again is Cope Foundation. Any final words? I mean, you gave us a great outlet of what's coming up for the organization.
Yeah, thank you for that one. You gave us a great platform to share on behalf of the thousands of families that count on us. So the reminder to anyone who might be listening and wants, needs, deserves that support is no one needs to grieve alone. So no one does need to go through a grief journey by themselves. Reach out, whether it's to Cope. We can help connect you to other resources in your backyard if you're not in the immediate area of downstate New York and Long Island. We know a lot of people across the country and beyond, and increasingly they know us, and thanks to Philanthropy and Phocus to helping get the word out there. So no one needs to grieve alone. Reach out, get the support that you need and deserve for yourself and your family. And to anyone who cares about those in your lives who are grieving, and grief touches everyone inevitably, reach out. You can help them. We have lots of tools on how to support grievers. I'll share for your show notes as well a platform called Speaking Grief, a partner of ours who has a lot of great resources for grievers and those who care about them. And the next level of healing is helping. So reach out, get involved in your community. There's lots of organizations, including COPE, that can be pathways for your own philanthropy, your volunteerism, your service, your time, talent, treasure, as Tommy said so eloquently and succinctly. So reach out, get involved, and stay connected. That's the message.
I love it, Adam. And I'm so glad you were on here today with me. I just want to say, the next level of healing is helping. I love that line. Adam, I know you got to get going. I will finish out the show. Have a great day. Make it a great day. I like to say, I appreciate you. We'll catch up soon. All right.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tommy and team. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. And that was my friend, Adam Rabinovich from the organization COPE Foundation. And what do we do here on Philanthropy and Focus? Well, we bring together leaders of nonprofits to tell their story and amplify their message. And I say that every week. I say it all the time. This, since February of this year, I had decided that in relationship and in connection with our agency, the company we own, Vanguard Benefits, we would highlight a specific nonprofit for an awareness month. So it happens to be Men's Health Awareness Month. The month of June is Men's Health Awareness Month. Next week on the show, I have Ed Randall, who is a broadcaster, a journalist, very involved with Major League Baseball, but he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And as a result of him being, this is many years ago, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which is 99% treatable when it's caught early. He created an organization. Of course, it's about a nonprofit, right? This is Philanthropy and Focus. The organization is Fans for the Cure. Fans for the Cure is the website, fansforthecure.org. Ed Randall will be on the program with us next week here on Philanthropy and Focus. We're going to be acknowledging that it is Men's Health Awareness Month, and also, as I say, in conjunction with Vanguard. So look us up, Vanguard Benefits, vanguardbenefitsu.com. That's our website, YOU, vanguardbenefitsyou.com. And then also watch us on LinkedIn and also on Facebook, because each month we're putting a lot of information out there with regards to the awareness month. Last month it was mental health. And back in February, we started this with sudden cardiac arrest with American Heart Month, which I didn't mention today, and I'll mention really quick. I was on the phone with Melinda Murray-Nyack, the founder of the Dom Heart 21 Foundation. And she has asked me to be an honoree at their event in October. And I said yes, and I'm excited about that. So more to come on all that. But check out the Dom Heart 21 Foundation, because sudden cardiac arrest is not rare. We can't think it's rare. We got to be out in front. And join me next week, me and Ed Randall, talking about Fans for the Cure and getting a PSA, your prostate exam, because we want to be checked. We want to make sure we're good. It's a simple blood test. I leave you all with this. Stay tuned on the organization. Stay tuned on the network for Steve Fry. Always Friday. It's always Friday with that guy, the SMB guy. But I'm Tommy D. Make it a great day. We'll catch up soon. I'll talk to you all next week. Bye now.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Create value and growth. I'm Matthew Aspel, your host and an attorney focused on innovation.